Yair Rodriguez defeats Jung via fifth round KO. So how this fight played out was, I'm not even gonna do the round by round because I think every round kind of was like similar to the round before it, or all the rounds were similar up until that fifth round and to that last 10 seconds. I think all the rounds were pretty much similar. Like, Yair was more versatile, whereas Jung at least had the more effective strike. Maybe not overall his strikes were more effective, but his particular strike was the most effective strike in the whole fight, at least up until the knockout. His particular strike, his straight was the most significant strike. It was shot landing the most and having the most effective any strike in the fight up until that literally last second that where Jung got knocked out by Yair. So that was his straight was the most effective shot. It was landing the most often out of any strike, and it was the most telling shot and was the most cleanest shot landing. But Yair was more versatile. He was landing the leg, the body, the head, whereas Jung was landing more so just to the head. 88% of his shots went to the head, 7% to the body, 4% to the leg, whereas Yair, 49% to the head, 20% to the body, and 30% to the leg. Like I said, more versatile, more areas of attack, and just attacking all these areas. But yeah, so he's pretty much, it would be like Yair mixing up early, then Jung pretty much catching up with him in strikes where he would land flurries and find these strings of periods of times where he would just land a couple combinations and he would either equal Yair's like strike, like his lead up, and then or pass it. And it was like very close rounds, but it was like really like every round was close. I think Jung actually outlanded Yair in most of the, like overall he outlanded Yair, but and then it really didn't matter because Yair got that last second KO. Like I said, it was like very close fight up until the end. And if it went to decision, it could have went either way, and it really wouldn't have been a robbery either way. It was like one of those fights that were real close, real gritty. Like I said, it was like a high level fight, high level chess match, exciting. It was high paced, but at the same time, it was measured. It was a very good fight, and it came down to the very last second where Yair got that elbow. It was weird because I think maybe the fourth round kind of set up the fifth round, or maybe the whole fight just set up that last second. Whereas I think, at least to my recognition, I think the fourth round was when he first really started like just shaking hands with Jung, and they would just hugged at the beginning of the round. Then somewhere towards the middle and the end of that round, they just kind of stopped. Well, Yair stopped and started like lifting his hands up and playing to the crowd. Then Jung just would look and he would look at the crowd. Matter of fact, at one point he took his eyes completely off Yair and looked into the crowd. Like they just stopped and were just looking at the audience, like they were watching the audience, like the audience was watching them. It was like just some weird stuff. But I guess Yair was kind of maybe setting Jung up, maybe playing him a little bit. But you really didn't see that to that last second. But then they went back to striking and was like, again, the same stuff, very close rounds. Jung trying to catch up with those flurries and landing that straight. He wasn't really landing it when he would just set up the straight. I mean, not when he didn't set it straight up, it wasn't really landing. Yair was able to turn out when he either like feint or come behind, like set up a jab with it first. He would land that straight like pretty much every single time. It was like he was landing like clockwork, just landing every single time he would set it up. But now that's besides the point. Then, like I said, the fourth round was kind of like that whole hugging and looking at the crowd thing. Then the fifth round, another close round, could go either way. I think some people had Yair up going into the final round. Some people had Jung up going into the final round. Some people had it even. So it was like a very close fight. And then in like the last minute, they kind of hugged and stuff. Then like in that very last 10 seconds, they kind of took a real long pause, wasted about 5 seconds just looking at each other and like basically got like again, Yair initiated. Jung never initiated these pausing moments. It was always Yair kind of looking at the crowd, like waving his hands and stuff. And then Jung basically after that 5 seconds of waiting around, kind of came in and fired like with a flurry, like like he was doing throughout the fight. But then Yair dipped down, came back up with an elbow, like, and I think Jung was kind of falling in over top, and then Yair raised his elbow right so that Jung ran his chin right into it and got knocked out. So looking at it live, it just looked like they were exchanging. Like matter of fact, like Jung was throwing strikes and Yair was avoiding, like he was doing a lot of pretty much most of the fight. He was avoiding the flurry a little bit. Not really. Most of those shots weren't landing, and Yair was avoiding pretty cleanly. And then out of nowhere, Jung just fell in face planting. Like maybe he just looked like his control command just passed out. Like he just had a hardware failure. He just fell out of nowhere. Then he saw in the slow motion, he saw that Yair pretty much poked his elbow up and had Jung run right into it. But yeah, crazy knockout. One of the craziest knockouts, not just in the UFC, not just in MMA, but combat sports history. It was a very crazy knockout. You won't really see these things on the normal. You can look at 100 different organizations. You really don't see knockouts like that. You might see some crazy stuff, but you don't see nothing like that. Especially at this high level, it is like crazy to see that. And like after such a fight, it wasn't like it was in the first round or it was thrown several times. It just came out of nowhere in the 5th round in the very last second. I think this ties the latest finish in UFC history. Maybe not in title fight history, but in UFC history. Because on title fight history and UFC history is Mighty Mouse at 459 with that submission. So he ties the submission. I mean, he ties that finish, like the latest stoppage in UFC history. But Mighty Mouse still has the in a title fight, because this wasn't a title fight. It was a 5-round, just like the title fights are, but it's not a title fight. But still, he ties it regardless. But it's not. Mighty Mouse still has the record solely as far as title fights go. But let's get back to this fight. But yeah, that was a crazy knockout. I think, whether it be fluke or not, I think you look at it as like a setup. I think maybe the whole, like, you know, this talking to each other and, like, you know, this playing to the crowd thing was a setup for that elbow, because usually when people get like thrown off their pattern, they go back to the thing they're safest with throwing. They feel like the smartest thing to throw that will be most effective and be the least risky. Like they get something they could throw, it could be effective, and it's not much risk to it. So Chan Jung was throwing that the whole fight and really getting away with it, like, because Yair would mostly avoid those things and not fire back anything. So when he kept resetting, he kept going back to the same thing. So maybe Yair said, once I do this right here, play to the crowd a little bit. Once he reset, he'll go exactly for the same strike every time because he feels safe with that. And maybe I can land this elbow. But even then, it's like such a risky strike, and you don't know if it's going to knock anybody out. And even if it does land, it's a very low chance of landing, especially at this level. I doubt he'll land it again for a very long time. It's like this is such a crazy elbow. Maybe he'll talk about it in some interviews later on and say how he's been working on it in camp or something. But like I said, it was a very crazy knockout, whether it be actually set up or he just BSing and saying it was set up or it was luck. It's still a crazy knockout. Like I said, one of the craziest knockouts in combat sports history, especially at this level. But as far as the performance goes, like I said, if it went into decision, this fight could go either way. But the way that it happened, it got a finish. It cleared all that out of the way, and this Yair won. He's been out for a while now, but he came back on such a crazy win, and he put himself back in the spotlight once again. Not just in some normal decision win or some normal KO win, but some bizarre win that the whole sport will be talking about, and probably find its way on ESPN and some other stuff. It really should, because that was some crazy stuff right there. But now, besides that part, like that fight, like let's talk about after the fight. I think Chan Jung's still a very solid fighter. Like I said, this fight could have went either way. So Chan Jung is still a solid fighter. He could take some time off, recover, get another big fight, and put himself right back in a good position and get a good fight. And if he can win that fight, he'll be right back. I mean, his next fight, he'll be right back in good position. Yair Rodriguez, close fight. If it would have went to the decision, he would have lost a split decision or something. He would have been like, you know, probably would have fell far down the ladder, probably fell out of the top 15. But now this win, like, ushers him in a very good spot. I think he'll likely fight Zabit next, because he was supposed to fight Zabit before. The fight fell through. Was supposed to fight Zabit again. The fight fell through. Really, both times Yair fell through. So Yair fell through the first time. He fell through the second time. But looking like this fight will happen again. I mean, will be matched up again. And I think most likely will happen this time. But as far as the matchup goes, I think after watching the fight, it was a good win for Yair, and exciting and crazy and all this stuff. But I think just looking at him fight, at first I was like one of the few people that had Yair beating Zabit. I would say Yair would beat Zabit. But looking at his performance and how open he is to that straight, and how open, like how he deals with pressure, like he does well with pressure, and his takedown defense looked pretty solid in this fight. But against Zabit, Zabit's wrestling gonna be much better than Chan Jung. Zabit's much bigger than Chan Jung, and you're not open and straight. I think he could set you up with a straight pretty good, at least getting you going backwards and going for some takedowns. And I think he can pretty much have his way with you in grappling. I don't think it's gonna be like super dominating where he just be submit him all easy like he does his other opponents who really aren't on the caliber that Yair is on. But I think he could definitely have his way there with Yair, and at least kind of dominate in a way where maybe he'll dominate him to decision, or maybe like a late submission, but not no early submission or no early TKO stuff. But looking at that, freshly looking at that fight, I think Zabit's the better fighter, or at least the better stylistically wise as far as they match up. I think Zabit's has the advantage in that fight. But that's about all I got to say for this fight and for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.